Hello and good evening, everyone, and welcome to Cosmic Conversations right here on the Conscious Awakening Network. I'm your host, Sheila Seppi, and I want to welcome you to tonight's episode. I am so super excited to tell you all about what we have coming up. But before I do want to make a couple of announcements. First, I'm going to be speaking at the Light Language Conference right here in Colorado, in Arvada, on May the 30th through June the 1st. And then you can visit, of course, let me tell you, you can visit that site at lightlanguageconference.com. And then May the 9th through the 11th, I'm going to be at the New Living Expo. And that's going to be the 9th. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's going to be the 9th through the 11th also, but I'm speaking on the 11th. So I would love for you guys to come out. I would love to give you a big hug and say hello and have you to join me because I'm going to be talking about the multidimensional grid, the human grid, how we tie into the galactic grid. I'm going to be working with Elder Mother Tiamu, and I'm going to be channeling her, and we're going to work to align and activate the grids of your field. So you can learn more about that at the newlivingexpo.com. And now I am super, super, super excited to introduce to you my co-host for this month, Dr. Lisa Thompson. Now, I am so thrilled to have her here because the moment I first heard her speak, there was this resonance factor, and I knew in my heart that this woman is the real deal. And I really was so excited. We spoke at a conference together, and immediately, as soon as she finished speaking, I was sending an email. How do I get a hold of that lady? I really want to get a hold of her. I need to talk with her. And we did, and you know how that works. You feel that resonance with people that you know are of like mind. And so I'm super excited that we can create this sacred container for you guys this month. But I want to tell you just a little bit about Dr. Lisa because she is an internationally recognized best-selling author. She's a speaker, a galactic ambassador, a channeler, an intuitive transformal formal I can't even talk tonight, an intuitive transformational coach who brings the world of science and spirituality together. And that is so, so important. She's also a lifelong experiencer of extraterrestrial contact, and she has established herself as a multidimensional channeler who communicates with 13 higher dimensional ET races, primarily the Arcturian Aluru. Now, she guides individuals and audiences through their life-changing teachings that empower them to step into their own higher purpose by embracing self-love, trusting their intuition, and overcoming fear. And that way it helps them to take inspired action. Now, her reputation as an inspiring and transformative speaker has led her to the stage of prominent spiritual and metaphysical summits and conferences all around the world. She has been a featured speaker at numerous spiritual conferences, and she has her own weekly podcast called Connections to the Cosmos with Dr. Lisa Thompson. Now, this is where she talks to you about out of this world conversations with extraordinary people. She's created 10 oracle decks and she loves teaching online classes. And she leads retreats in her home state of Hawaii. Lisa, I am super excited to have you here. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Oh, Sheila, I am thrilled to be here with you too, and I can't wait to have you really meet Alyssa, our guest.
That is going to be awesome. So I'll have you to introduce her in just a second. But before we do, for people who may not have seen you on Cosmic Conversations before, even though we had you on the Thursday show, if you'll tell just a little bit more about yourself, and then we'll dive into our speaker.
Yeah, so, well, as you said, from the bio, I have been a lifelong experiencer contactee, and I first was reintroduced to my Arcturian family, which I realized actually was myself back in October of 2018. And it took a little while for me to feel comfortable in understanding what that experience was meant to be. But now here we are, what, 6 years later, and I have kind of like you integrated these different aspects of myself. So these 13 different galactic races are really just different aspects of my multidimensional being. And so knowing that, it's way easier to tap into that energy.
That's awesome. And I mentioned earlier that I had listened to Alyssa's podcast where she was talking about 2025. And I've listened to other people talk, and it seems like this year and the next year is really when we're embracing and bringing in all that multidimensionality. And as I looked over the list of speakers that you're bringing to us this month, we are going to rock it. So I just can't wait. I'm going to go ahead and have you to introduce our beautiful speaker for the evening.
I am so thrilled to present to you Alyssa Rushton. She is a dynamic, phenomenal healer, mentor, coach, and she has become a very dear friend of mine with her sparkling, magical unicorn energy. She is pure love and light. And for her formal bio, though, she's also known as the Divine Superpowers Activator. She's a near-death survivor and energy intuitive who's thought of as one of the world's most cutting-edge thought leaders on conscious life creation and ascension. She's also the founder of the internationally accredited Divine Light Energy Healers Academy, where she teaches coaches, healers, and entrepreneurs how to see, sense, and recode energy at the holographic energetic levels, DNA, belief, emotional, and body levels for lasting results and total transformations. Alyssa has inspired thousands of light leaders, students, clients, and listeners from all over the globe to step into their true identity as a divine being of light and activate their superpowers. When she's not teaching or speaking internationally, you can usually find her swimming with the sea turtles near her home on the Big Island of Hawaii, 10 minutes away from me, or hiking in the mountains of Arizona, her home away from home. So, Alyssa, thank you so much for being here with us.
Oh my gosh. Thank you guys for having me. What a treat. I'm so excited about the conversation we're going to have today. Wow.
So, Sheila, you are muted.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I was saying I'm excited about that too. And I would love for you to kind of, tell a little bit more about yourself, how you got to be where you are, a little bit about your journey. And, then we're going to take that deep dive.
Okay, great. Yeah. So I might look like this now, but I didn't always used to. There was a time when I was 240 pounds. I used a walker to get around when I did get around. And I was on 28 different medications, including end of life pain management. And I had a PICC line going into my arm. I was desperately ill. And what I thought I was doing was fighting for my life. And what I didn't really realize is I was killing myself. So it wasn't until I had a death experience where in fact, I thought it was so funny. Susie, you were playing the Elvis for us, and Elvis too died on the potty. So apparently a lot of cool kids, no, I'm just kidding, but a lot of people do die in the bathroom because it's a very, good place to go when you're not feeling well. Where do we go? We go to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom and I died. And while I left my body on the toilet, I bounced my consciousness up into God consciousness, divine consciousness, and I got a galactic reboot, which was incredible. And I could go on and on and on about that. But for now, what I think I'll share is that when I came back into the body, what I realized, number one, was the frequency differential between being a divine being of light and our physical body. It literally felt like someone dropped me off a 1,000-story building and just slammed me into concrete. And that's what it felt like to be back in the body. It felt so hard and so heavy. And when I woke up in the hospital, I realized that my life was officially broken. And I needed to integrate the codes and the frequencies and all of the wisdom that I got up there down here in the body. And it actually took me about 5 years. And in fact, there's still things that I'm integrating into my body, but it took me about 5 years to get my health back, to get my life back. And one of the things that happened while I was on the other side was I got a choice to come back. So I got to make a conscious decision that it wasn't yet my time to go, and that, yes, I could come back to earth, and that, yes, it would be one of the best things I've ever done. So that's my little story in a nutshell. Now, I want to also say that the reason why I was so sick, I believe, is because I had a body filled with trauma that I had never really dealt with. And I actually think that that's one of the things that we're here to do in this lifetime, is to clean up the stored trauma in our vehicle. And that the more we do that, the better life we can have. And so hopefully today we'll dive into all that, the DNA components, because our bodies are just this extraordinary vehicle. But I don't know if you guys have this, like, do you have a car that has sensors and gives you feedback and does all that stuff? So I drive a Ford, and my Ford didn't really do a good job of getting programmed right. And so the sensors are a little funky, and sometimes they go off when there's nothing around it. And what I got on the other side is that our bodies we have funky programming in our bodies. We've got not awesome programming in these vehicles. And so we really haven't had the technologies available to us to recode ourselves until very recently, until about 2012. Most people started to get access to that recoding system. I got access a little earlier, but we now have full access to technologies, to wisdom, to all sorts of goodies that we can basically recode ourselves into what I call the divine human. So that's my story. That's my origin story.
I love it. I love it. And my story is kind of similar to yours, where I was a very, very sick person and I went into the white light space. I don't know that it was a near-death experience, but from everything that I've heard, it sounds like it. But that's when I did the soul exchange. And it's amazing to me how many people are being activated through spiritually transformative awakenings, through near-death experiences, walk-ins, you name it, starseed awakenings, kundalini awakenings. And so many people are running around and they've already had these, divine DNA activations, and they really don't know what's going on. And so I was super excited to see that you were going to talk about that tonight. And if you could, for people who are not familiar with what we're talking about, if you could share a little bit more detail about that.
Yeah, specifically about divine DNA or
Yeah, about the divine DNA and the activations and those types of, conversational pieces that we can, go off of.
Absolutely. So I'm going to dive into a little bit of science about how your guys' bodies work. So I apologize if you know this already, but this is good ground to cover. So your DNA, you guys already know this, it tells your body what color your eyes are going to be. It tells your body how tall or short you're going to be. It tells your body how well your metabolism is going to perform or not. So it tells your body how to work. It's your physical vehicle. It's informing your physical vehicle. And we all know that, right? Everybody knows that. That's old science. Then we come into epigenetics, which is the imprints, the emotional and traumatic imprints from your family. 7 generations back now, we have the hard science to prove that you were stamped with all of the beliefs, the frequencies, the encoded responses to life from 7 generations back. And you might be like, oh my gosh, because you know your family. Cindy's face is like, and that's not positive, right? Same, my family, not positive. In fact, one of my lineages stamped into my DNA was addiction. Really hardcore addiction was stamped in there. Okay, now, so we also, many of us know that the emotional and belief imprints get stamped into the DNA. But what I learned on the other side is it's so much bigger than that. And this is the most important piece. So your DNA, and the problem is modern science does not yet have the ability to prove this, but your DNA is also multidimensional and holds the imprint of your multidimensional self. And like Lisa shared earlier, she's working with 13 beings And all of that is embedded in her DNA inside of her. It comes pre-programmed with the body. Okay, so each and every one of you have starseed galactic origins. You have maybe angelic origins. Maybe you have like Quantum Doug has a little angel DNA in there, right? You probably already know this about yourself, Quantum Doug. Yay, you're like, yes, it's about myself. So you already have an understanding of some of the frequencies that you're working with. And so divine DNA is really a two-part process. Basically, we are learning to uncode ourselves from the junk, really hardcore viral programs that do not serve our highest good. And by the way, we are living in a time where we have an extraordinary amount of those. Extraordinary amount of junky programs that bog down your supercomputer, that bog down your vehicle. So part one of divine DNA is taking out all of those programs that do not serve your highest good. And then part two is encoding the parts that do serve your highest good, and then really turning on the access to not only be in direct communication with your galactic selves, your galactic family, but also your gifts and your skills and your talents. And I mean, so much like instantaneous healing is one that so many of you are encoded for, and infinite abundance and communication and interstellar travel and all of these things we have the abilities for. We just have been cut off through a series of you could call it malware. You could call it viruses. You could call it whatever you want, but it is embedded in the DNA. Now, here's what you also may know, but this might be a shocker for some of you. So I'm going to turn my chair a little bit. So we think that reality, the reality that you see in front of you, is like a live, living field that we meet up with. And we often see it out here, and most people are like, oh yeah, that's reality. What you may not know, or this might be your first time hearing it, is your DNA that's in here is actually the one projecting your reality. So your direct experience of the world is actually directly impacted by your code. It's an interactive system. So you're both receiving and transmitting. Your DNA actually looks like a 5G antenna. Do you guys know this? Have you ever seen a 5G antenna and looked at a piece of DNA? Well, it looks the 5G antenna looks like a very basic version, but it's similar in shape and nature. So your DNA is both sending and receiving data from the field at all times. And therefore, because your DNA is taking subatomic photons and turning it into your reality. It's the reason why two people can go out to the same restaurant and have two vastly different experiences. Have you guys ever had that? Where you go out to lunch or dinner with a friend and like you guys are having really two different experiences? Yeah, Fallon's had it. Yeah, Susie's had it. So it's the reason why you can have two people. I see this all the time in Hawaii. You bring two sets of couples to Hawaii, and one's having this paradise vacation and the other one is having this horrible experience. How can that be? You're in the same place. You folks are staying at the same hotel. It's because your DNA is literally informing your fields. And what you might also not be aware of is that whoever DNA projection is stronger is who will win in the reality bubbles. So we walk around in these little reality bubbles. And right now we have 8 billion different reality bubbles on the planet. So think about that for a second. We were taught that we were in one reality, when really, truly, we're in an enmeshment of 8 billion reality bubbles all happening at once. And depending on my coding that's inside of me, my reality bubble can be incredible paradise on earth, heaven on earth, or it can literally be hell on earth. And so part of what we're encoding for right now and rewriting the code is to really take out that hell on earth, that underworld, right? All of that separation stuff, and we're recoding it. But it's something that's happening on a very global scale, and a lot of people are getting hit with these codes and frequencies that they may not have a frame of reference for, and they may not understand even how to work with this. And so, yeah, that's my long-winded answer to what the heck is this divine DNA, anyways.
Well, I love that long-winded answer. It was great. And, as you were talking, it made me think, recently we've been having all these solar flares and we've been getting star codes and gamma light. And so I'm wondering, what connection do you feel that these higher dimensional energies are having on our DNA and the awakening?
I love this question. Well, you guys probably know that light equals information.
Yeah.
Right? Light is information. It's encoded information. So I feel like the reason for these solar flares and the galactic flares and all of these things that are happening is because it's triggering at this time the dormant DNA to come online. And you guys that are here listening right now, you guys will know this. I mean, we couldn't have had these same conversations even 3 years ago. It would have really been a stretch for most people to come together and talk about how we are galactic in nature, how we have this multidimensional DNA, right? It's just something that we couldn't have done even 3 years ago. It felt very scary. So you can already tell it's a sequential activation happening in your system that allows us to have a remembrance. It's pinging people to the level to which they can activate for at this time. And that's also something that's really important to understand is everybody's car is different. Okay. Just like I drive a Ford. Lisa, do you want to say what you drive?
Sure. I have a BMW.
Okay. So my 2013 Ford operates a lot differently than Dr. Lisa Thompson's brand new BMW. Okay, I'm just saying. So one of the things that we have to understand is that our vehicles, our body vehicles are all very different. So that's why Grandpa Joe, he's in the same world as you are. He's getting the same light codes that you are, but Grandpa Joe might not be impacted like you. He might be feeling things very differently or not at all. Okay. So it's to the level to which we've said yes to the awakening in this lifetime and being the light leader. And my sense is that each and every one of you who are on this call, and by the way, it has nothing to do with age. I mean, it could be a 95-year-old or it could be a 5-year-old. We have said on soul level, yes, I want to be a part of this activation. Yes, I want to be a part of this world, this reality that we call reality, really shifting at the collective level into a frequency that is not based in lack, limitation, fear, victim mentality, right? And instead, we're shifting into, at the collective level, into a world that is sustainable, into one that is based in unity consciousness, which isn't, there's no difference between me and you. Unity consciousness is we are different and we exist together, and it's energy first. It's energetics first, and we have to be a clearer energy. So, it's really a time when we're shifting, and you who are here right now, I can tell each and every one of you has chosen to shift. You're here to be a part of the shift. And the more you are in your frequency, and if you guys want, we could do an activation today, but your body acts like a cell tower. Okay. So again, you all know your phone, it transmits and receives frequency. You can't see it happening, but it basically digitizes your voice into a series of zeros and ones and transmits that to the cell tower. And then the cell tower has a broader range. Okay. And usually most cell towers, 5G cell towers, is about 1 to 2 miles. So it transmits about 1 to 2 miles out. So I want you to think of your body very similarly. You're transmitting your frequency, if you'd like to, about 1 to 2 miles out. Now, here's the rub. Most human beings right now are transmitting their frequency only about 10 feet out. Some are a little more, but you literally with your intention can start to hold a bigger field. Now, here's the cool thing. The coding that is in your DNA is informing your fields. All right. And so the codes and frequencies that you hold in your field, people will feel. And because we're herd animals, yes, we're a lot like cows or dogs. The frequency that you are holding will help other human beings attune to you. Okay. And we know this through group dynamics, right? It's they're attuning to your frequency. Now, here's the cool thing about your frequency. You might not know this. You are cymatics. So you actually have a sound frequency. Your radionics, you actually have a light and radio wave frequency, and your photonics. So your frequency is made up of photonics, radionics, and cymatics. So your sound, light, and heat. Okay, so we're gonna put code into your whole frequency that literally when you walk into a space, maybe you go into a city, the frequency of that city can change because of the encoding that you're choosing to hold in and through your field. I don't remember what the question is, but that's where I'm landing the plane.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it. And there was another question about DNA that popped up in the chat. Fallon is wondering, she said she's heard of the 12 strands of DNA and she has sensed 13 coming online. She also knows of some other star seeds who think there may possibly be 13. Have you heard of this? Do you know anything about it? Can you share anything?
Yes. Okay. Two things I want to say. Our human mind wants to understand numbers and all of that. I actually think once you pop out of this earth-based consciousness, how many strands of DNA we have are irrelevant. Like ultimately, it doesn't really matter how many strands we have. We don't even know how to work with the strands we know about. So if you can focus instead on a different conversation and a different question, I think that'll actually be helpful for you, which is instead of how many strands of DNA do I have, what codes and frequencies and magnetics and radionics and cymatics am I activating within my fields? Does that make sense? So you want to start to ask different questions that get you pointed in a little different direction. Because we could all sit here and argue about, is it 12? Is it 13? Technically, our science can't see it anyways right now. So there's really no point in the question. So instead, ask yourself, am I tuning in daily to make sure that I'm activating all parts of my divine DNA? Am I holding the frequency that allows my DNA to radiate and to amplify my natural gifts and skills and talents? Am I living my life in a way that is helping my divine DNA be fully activated? Those are questions that will serve you really, really, really well. And they'll help to bring on more online of your highest, most divine, most loving frequencies and codes.
Beautiful. I love that answer. And, you know, so many people, when they start talking about upgrades or they start talking about increasing their frequencies, they automatically go to that place of, you know, what's my gifts? What's my awareness? What's my new soul mission? How can I activate that more? How can I incorporate that or pull it out of that divine blueprint? And when you get that question, how are you able to answer that for people?
Okay, I'm so sorry. I got lost. I was looking at Doug's question. Can you just ask me that question one more time? I want to answer Doug's
I
question.
think I
Really
can.
Mhm.
I think I can because it had to do with gifts and awareness. I said, you know, a lot of times when I'm talking to people, they're asking about their gifts, their awareness, and their soul missions.
Yeah.
How can they activate that? And my question to you is when people ask you how they can activate that through their divine DNA blueprint, how are you able to respond to that?
Gosh, I feel like I can best answer this question by doing an activation because we all came here with a soul mission. And ultimately, that soul mission is mostly the frequency that you radiate. It's very little to do with what you do in the world. Because here's the thing, if you let's say you think, oh, my soul mission is to be a spiritual teacher. And you go and you're a spiritual teacher, but you're an absolute, pardon the French, asshole. There is no purpose in you doing that soul mission. Your soul mission is a frequency that you're holding. It's a frequency, right? Susie's laughing. She knows this. It's the frequency that you're holding. Just as, when you're playing an instrument, the frequency that you're holding is coming through. Same thing with your voice. It's a frequency. So it's less about the actual thing that you're doing and more about how you're doing the thing. That is the absolute truth, because at the end of the day, if you say, oh, Alyssa, can you drive me to the airport? And I say, yeah, I'm going to drive you to the airport. And I am running behind and I'm late and I'm riding everybody's tail and I'm going, 95 miles an hour, just right on everybody's bumper. And you're super stressed out and you're freaked out and you think, it doesn't really matter if Alyssa got you to the airport or not. It's the worst ride of your life. So we want to be thinking about, what's my soul mission? No, your soul mission is to be frequency and to hold a frequency no matter what you are doing. If you're cleaning somebody else's toilets for a living, can you hold the frequency of love? Can you hold the frequency of compassion? Because on the other side, let me be the one to tell you that what we're learning here is how to be in the frequency of love. We're learning how to create as fast as the speed of light. And we're learning how to not be judgmental, okay? To not judge other beings for what they're doing. So at the end of the day, we want to start to activate in our system for the coding and the frequencies of unconditional love, of unity consciousness, of instantaneous healing, of infinite abundance. We start to activate those codes. And then what's really cool is, no matter where you go, you could be standing in line at the airport or at the grocery store or hanging out with your best friend, Joe, and you are in your soul mission. Because here's the other truth. As somebody who's actually died and been on the other side, you don't actually take what you've done for other people with you. You only take the frequency that you were. You don't take the frequency that you helped Sally Sue be. If you didn't live your life in a way, but you were always helping Sally Sue be a better person, but you were not a better person, you don't take Sally Sue with you. You only take you with you. You only take your frequency with you. So all of that to say, Sheila, I would say that activating your soul's mission, we're here right now on a mission to be the frequency of love, to be the frequency of unity consciousness, to be the frequency of total complete abundance, to be the frequency of paradise on earth, to be the frequency of absolute anything you could possibly need when you need it or before. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Couldn't agree with you more. That's beautiful. Now, another question that I always get, that I'm sure you get as well, is there are a lot of people who are still asking, what are the signs? What are some of the symptoms that I know show me that I'm actually activating, or I'm even recalibrating my frequency? Because that's huge. A lot of people, yes, they get activated, but in this time, with everything that's coming in, people are assimilating it and they're recalibrating. So could you talk a little bit more about that?
Yes, this is huge, because just like your phone, when you get a new update on your phone, it has to power down. And then it says, hey, do you want to accept this update? You hit yes. And then it does the update and then it powers down and then it reboots. Your body is very similar to this technology. Got to tell you, you're soft technology or you're the most advanced technology, but you're very similar. So when we get a new update coming through, a new upgrade, and you can usually feel this because you might be tired, that's your nervous system going, actually, I need to power down to receive this update. But your first thing that you will want to do is really tune in to the update and say, yes, Yes. Be really conscious about your life. Yes, I agree to receive this update to my highest good and my maximum potential, and just say yes. And then let your body recalibrate, give yourself some rest, maybe take a nap, let yourself power down. And here's a pro tip for you. Here's what I do. And this is really helpful for me. It's helpful for my students is ask your body and your nervous system to recalibrate itself to the frequency of your new consciousness. Cindy's like, boom, microphone drop. Ask your body and your nervous system to recalibrate to the frequency of your new consciousness. Okay. And then everything happens a little bit more easily. You hear a lot about ascension symptoms, and I see this all the time. People are just really giving a lot of energy to ascension symptoms. And here's what I'm here to share with you. Your reality is a hologram. What you like, click, subscribe onto, AKA what you give your attention to, you will get more of. Just like my Instagram feed is mostly golden retrievers, because it makes me happy. So you can tell that I'm liking, clicking, subscribing on golden retrievers and angel numbers. Okay. And so what you want to make sure that you're doing, if you are getting upgrades and you're having ascension symptoms, is you want to make sure that you're not energizing more of that in your fields. Okay, this is really important. So if you're finding things are hard on your body and you're going on message boards and looking for all the symptoms that everybody's having and like giving that energy, you are liking, clicking, and subscribing to that channel. The universe is like, oh, you like having ascension symptoms. Okay, great. Let's give you more ascension symptoms. So you really want to be mindful of this. So if you're having physical symptoms, because here's the thing, upgrading should feel amazing. Let me say that again. Upgrading your body should feel amazing. If it doesn't, we want to look at, well, how can? Okay. Do I need to shift something with my body? All you want to do here is just tune into your body and ask your vehicle, what do you need in order for me to feel amazing when I wake up in the morning? What is it that I can give you so that in the morning, when I wake up, I am ready to go. I am charged with energy. I am filled with frequency. I am filled with divine light. I am radiating in love. Okay. And that's where you want to point your consciousness instead versus let me look and energize for all these symptoms that I'm currently having. So yes.
Beautiful. And, I'm glad that you bring the body component into it because, a lot of people, they want to focus on what's outside. They want to focus on the spiritual aspect. They want to focus on the galactic aspect, but they forget that in order to hold those frequencies, that they have to have a healthy body. And you have done a miraculous job with the healing of your body and, bringing yourself to the point where you are today. So still within the theme, but shifting the focus just a little bit. Could you share with people, some tips on how they can get their body ready and activated to receive higher codes?
Yes. And I want to piggyback on something you said. And then Lisa also had a question. But I want to say this. New Earth comes in and through your body. It's in and through the body. In and through the body. In and through the body. I cannot say it enough. In and through the body. So there's no amount of waiting for the new Earth to happen out here. It will not happen out here. It's got to come in and through your physical body because there's 8 billion different realities out there. Oh, and so all you're trying to do in this lifetime is recode yourself so that you can have new Earth in your reality bubble. And then once you have it in your reality bubble, then you help transmit it to others. And you're like popcorn popping in a pan. When you're popcorn popping in a pan and then the couple kernels get popped, all of a sudden the other popcorn can start to really pop and it starts to move around. You're an early popper. But that's really your job, is just to hold new earth frequency in and through your body. It will not happen on the outside of you. If you're waiting for the new earth to happen out here, it will never come. It's got to happen in through this vessel. And you guys are nodding your head. You already know that. I'm going to stop beating the bandwagon. I'm going to come back to Sheila's question, but Dr. Lisa, I know you had a question.
Oh, I just wanted to ask you, because I know kind of what you do, your practices daily, but I would love for you to share just a couple things that you do first thing in the morning to really have that energy come online and channeling that frequency.
Yes. Okay. So this is a really important one. It's going to sound like the silliest thing, I swear to you. But okay, you guys all know about certain viruses that have been put on the planet to mess around with us and all that stuff. And we always had the flu and other things. Okay. Now, I happen to live in the Hawaiian Islands where there was a time when we didn't have viruses here. I don't know if you guys know that, but there was a time when there were no viruses here. Okay. So, viruses, they attack your body and they want to shift and change your body. And they make you feel tired and they give you autoimmune diseases and all these things, right? And I've had to deal with a lot of viral activity. So I want you to think about your body as like a big, gigantic corporation. Now, I used to work for a Fortune 100 corporation. I was a corporate trainer and coach. And at that corporation, I got to help people work really well together and do, form a lot of community and do a lot of great projects. Okay. So, how do we get people to be awesome and productive? Well, guess what? We thank them and we tell them they're doing a great job and we show up and talk to them every single day. I want you to think of the cells in your body like individual people inside a corporation. Each cell in your body has consciousness. So the first thing that I like to do in the morning is I like to hold a sales meeting with my people. Okay. So I like to hold a little, I know it's Sabrina, right? I like to hold a staff meeting with all of my cells, all my bacteria, which by the way, in your gut alone, you have so much bacteria that's not even you. It doesn't even come from you. It's not you. And you have viruses that, by the way, are not you and didn't come from you. And some of the viruses and some of the bacteria, because we're not consciously talking to them, are trying to attack them. Have you guys ever seen that in a company where there's employees and they're actively trying to not do a good job? Have you guys seen that? Have you ever? Okay, it happens in a big corporation. There's employees that are actively trying to like work against the machine. Okay, you being the machine. So one of the things I do first thing in the morning is I go outside and I do this thing called light pulling, where I close down my eyes and I squint and I bring through the first light of the day. Now, I live in Hawaii where there's a big mountain in front of the sun a lot of the year. So I have to wait for the sun to pop up above the mountain, but I do. And I allow this rainbow frequency of light to come through my eyelashes. And I gather all of the cells and the bacteria and the viruses by saying cells, bacteria, and viruses. Good. I love you. I'm so glad that you're here. Thank you for being with me. Thank you for working for my highest good today. Thank you for taking all of your energy and really channeling it into the highest good of this body vehicle. I'm so glad you're here, and I'm so glad that you're working for the highest good of all. And I'm now going to give you this rainbow light that you can use for your energy. And I'm going to give you all my love, which you can use in any way that you see fit. And you can direct it to any part of the body. Okay, so it literally is like a staff meeting where you're thanking your employees, you're thanking, right, the parts, even the ones that are being jerks, because we have those parts of our bodies that are kind of being jerks, right? They're acting up. So then I'll literally go into the body, and maybe it's a part of my body that's got some pain or whatever, and I'll ask extra rainbow light to go into that part of the body and just give it all the nutrition, all the nourishment that it needs. I also do 3 rounds of divine light breathing, which is similar to Wim Hof, but with a little twist. So one of the things that happens in your physical body is inside your cells, you have mitochondria, and mitochondria are what is in charge of utilizing ATP to produce energy. And so this is called the Krebs cycle. And so most of us breathe in a way that gives us only 2 Krebs cycles. And you can breathe in such a way that'll give you 16 Krebs cycles. Okay, and you can literally do this very quickly. Can we see what this looks like really, really fast? This is the easiest thing to do. So you just breathe through your mouth with the intention of giving all of your staff members exactly all the things that they need. So we breathe through our mouth and we just do 10 breaths. And then you breathe in all your breath and you hold it. And you squeeze down with the intention of sending love and light to every single part of your body. And you just hold your breath for as long as you can, and then you blow it out. And then you do another round of that. Okay. And this creates 16 cycles of Krebs. So think about, if I gave you $2 or $16, which one would you like? Everybody knows, okay, give me 16. 16 is always more than 2. So it'll give you 16 times the amount of energy. Just doing this light pulling process and breathing process in the morning gives you so much energy. The other thing that Lisa knows about me is that at one point in time, I didn't walk. And my body was really, 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 it was just in bad shape, you guys. I was 30. It was in such bad shape. Woof, I really ran it off into a ditch pretty hard. And I drank and I smoked and I was just on everything you can imagine. And so after I died, one of the biggest techniques that I used to actually be able to walk again and read again and drive again and function as a normal human being. So I literally worked with my identity. So at the end of the day, your body holds your identity. Your DNA holds your identity. And you can program it. You can reprogram it, and you should reprogram it. And so what you want to do is whatever shift you're currently trying to make, and some of you I can see are making shifts in your health, or you want to make shifts in your health. Okay. Some of you I can see are wanting to make shifts in your financial status, and some of you it's your relationships. But whatever shift you're wanting to make, if you can go to the end and start to vision yourself in that end. So for me, I would just imagine myself just walking briskly with the sunshine shining on my shoulders, and just imagine myself walking, walking, walking. You want to do this as you're falling asleep or first thing in the morning while you're still in theta state. Theta is the programming state of your DNA and your identity. So if you can get yourself in that theta state, and at the time I would listen to theta waves during the day, and I would just lie in bed and just imagine myself walking, 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 walking. We actually have somebody in one of my groups that was a paraplegic, and they just did this process, and now they're doing, they're in the gym, they're doing cardio, they're doing, what do you call those things? Kettlebells. We're doing kettlebells when they were told they would never walk again. I was told that I was destined to die. They were actually right about that. So a couple of these practices are very physical things, but then there's the non-physical where you're actually going in and reprogramming your identity, yourself. The other thing that I do is called divine DNA repatterning. Okay. And this is a lot like recoding your computer. So it's finding where the old code is and what the code is. And we write a little line of script, and then we go into specific points on the body, and we inform the nervous system that we're about to take this coding out, and we do so, and then we insert new code. So for example, one of the ones that I work with a lot is health, abundance themes. People in my life tend to work on those things. And so we would go in, if somebody had an abundance thing, we might go in and work on self-worth. And then when we would recode that it's safe to get paid for what you're bringing to the world, or it's safe to make a lot of money, or it's safe to be valued. I do this a lot with relationships. So maybe I'm dealing with a man who was not loved by his mother in every single relationship he's ever had. The woman is just mean to him and he can't figure out why. And they're just mean to him. Well, he's accidentally running a DNA imprint from this life, but also from other lifetimes in his multidimensional field that are informing this lifetime that he can't be loved by a woman. So we have to go and take that piece of script out across all the lifetimes, because we have something that's called bleed through. So let me show an example of this. If this book was all of your lives, every bit of them, okay, we don't have, what's in here? We don't have to wait for, if we're on page 29 of your life, we don't have to wait for page 117 of your other lives to be written. It's already there. You guys with me? It's already all been written. Time is happening all right now, all at the same time. There is no, on the other side, there really isn't any difference in all the things that are happening. They're all in the now. So if we know that everything's happening all in the now, and if we know that you're having some lives that are really super positive for you, but we're also having some lives that are not positive for you, that are influencing you in a negative way, what we can then do is we can work with those, what I call bleed throughs. So just like if I accidentally spilled some ink on page 29, it would bleed through to other pages, especially depending on how much ink I spilled, right? So the same thing happens with our, I call them concurrent lives. I do not call them past or future lives. They're concurrent lives. So we want to look at what is the positive energy that I can bring and pull in and activate more of in the here and now? And what is the energy in the other lifetimes? What are the colors? What are the symbols? What are the lifetimes? And clear that energy to like taking an eraser ink to the pages. And then literally you have a different experience in this reality. Does that make sense?
It does. Well, and it just leads into like, we are not stuck in our realities at all. Our body has an amazing ability to, number one, heal itself. And you've shared what you did for yourself for that and how you've helped people. And when we are clearing out those traumas, whether they're from this life or other lives, then it actually does rewire the brain to the new reality.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, you'll see it like all of a sudden. I see this all the time with my clients, like they'll rewire a trauma and then all of a sudden new opportunities just start popping in overnight, or new money or new relationships because they've rewired the trauma across all lifetimes. So I think one of the biggest things that we're starting to get now as healers and teachers is, remember how doctors used to just approach the heart? Like if you had a heart attack, they would just treat the heart. And now we've got something called functional medicine doctors that treat the whole person. But what we're starting to move into is not only do we need to treat this physical one in front of us, we need to treat all the dimensions of all the realities. And I just don't think we had access to that years ago. Most people didn't, but now it's really becoming more part of the conversation. It's becoming part of the norm to address the multidimensional parts of us that we cannot see. And finally, science is coming on board. We actually can see a lot of this stuff in our own field, like our radionic field and our photonic field and our cymatic field. We can see that now. So I think the more evidence we start to chalk up in terms of, oh, there's stuff about our own body that we couldn't see. Also, the modern rocket scientists are starting to talk about multidimensional fields. So it's really a conversation that's coming online. But for you guys, in a very practical way, a very simple thing that you can do every single day is attune to your highest frequency. So should we do a quick activation for the
That
group?
would be great. Yeah, we have about 10 minutes left. So if you want to go ahead and do an activation, that would be amazing. Thank you.
Yay. Okay. I'm going to ask you guys in the chat, what would you like me to center this activation around? Cindy's so excited. I love it. She's just been like, yes, please, activation. What would you like me to center this activation around? And then I'm going to take a look at the group's energy beyond this Zoom room here. Okay, great. Alignment with authentic self. Ooh, Fallon, great. I'm going to go for that. Okay, so here's the thing. You can do this with your eyes open or closed. I want you to feel free to move your body. Remember, we try to do all this spiritual stuff, but then we forget to bring it in the body. So this is about you being in your body. So first off, let's take a nice, really deep breath with the intention of bringing in all parts of ourselves across all of the multidimensional field, all the way into our heart. And when you're ready, and just let that breath out. And just let your breathing return to normal for a second. And whenever you feel ready, take another nice deep breath in. Hold it right in the heart. And just releasing any little tensions or stresses. Returning your breath to normal. And one last really deep breath in. Holding it in your heart. And on this deep breath, just give an internal yes. I give permission to activate my highest self and to receive all of the codes and the frequencies and the alignments and the attunements today in my highest good. For the highest good of all, and let that breath go whenever you need to. So now we're going to bring in the sparkle spirits energy just to come into your energy field and just to highlight and show you any places of darkness, stuckness, damp, or outdated energy in and through your field and coming in and through your body. So just bringing in these sparkle spirits to come in and help you to clean up the energetic field. Ikuatanaya tushalatantane utanaka watanut ushatane ikolatane. Good. Feeling your body start to increase its frequency, increase its vibration as we go. And now we're just going to come in and we're going to disconnect if it's okay with you. And if it is, just say yes from any lower realm teaching, energies, entities, anything that's like sort of the underworld stuff. It might be negative polarity things. We're just going to clear all of that from the field. Ishawatanaya ukalatanatane usantana ikolatani utwa. And we're going to call in your own personal ascended master teams. And we're just going to surround you on all 4 points and above you and below you. And we're going to bring it out a little wider, about 10 feet around you, and just imagine these ascended master beings pouring in that frequency of ascended mastery in and through your body's vehicle, pouring in their light, their remembrance, their activation, their codes. And then around them, we're going to bring in your angel team, if it feels appropriate and aligned for you, bringing in your unique angels surrounding you, pouring in their angelic light. And now we're going to ask that this frequency get upgraded to 10,000 hertz. So I just want you to see what 10,000 hertz of this frequency of your authentic self feels like in and through your system. Isuwatanaya ikolatana Hutala te usanaya tawana. Ituana ikanaya. Usanata. Good. Opening up your energy field even more, bringing online your galactic teams, surrounding yourself now threefold, pouring in light from your ascended master team, your angelic team, your galactic team of light, pouring in, activating, anchoring in 20,000 hertz of your frequency. Now, I really want you to tune into the body here and feel that frequency getting stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. It's got to come in and through your body. Good. Situwatanaya ukalatani. Wisansanaya oe kanate. Isanata aikana. Sutuwatalana. Ishuna. Good. Now let's amp up the dial to 40,000 hertz, infusing your physical body with alignment with your true self, your divine self in physical form, that coming down directly through the Hara line, all the way through the body, opening up those energetic centers on the bottoms of the feet and letting the dump out program run of anything that is no longer aligned with your divine truth, with your divine self, with you being divine in physical form. Ishawatanaya ikula asana utana utanare utanara isanata wijawana yanatana. Now feel your energy rise even higher, coming up to 50,000 hertz. And I feel like we're going to keep it right there for the group, feeling your energy rise, rise, rise into divine truth of you. This is the truth of you, you in your highest frequency, holding unconditional love, holding and turning on all of the codes, all of the frequencies within your body for self-healing now. Activating self-healing now in and through the nervous system, in and through the body, in and through the cells, in and through the subatomic particle structure. Take a nice deep breath. Good. Coming into the heart, coming into the identity centers, weaving down through and retweaking, reweaving this coding structure to recode for divine human and physical form. And what that means is instantaneous healing, infinite abundance, and illumination from within, a heart so bright it shines like a diamond. So recoding this right now in and through your field, all the way around you, total recode. Take a nice deep breath in. Just saying yes to this internally in your body and feeling the heart start to expand as we specifically install this coding right into the DNA, into the genomic structure, all the way down in and through your photonic field, your radionic field, your cymatic fields. All parts of you get to recode instantaneously to divine in physical form. And what that means is bringing on all your ascended master lives, your angelic lives, your galactic lives, and bringing in the wisdom and the skills and the talents in any place and space inside of you where you might be feeling a little pressure in the heart. Take a deep breath into that. And we're just going to work with the heart just a little more. And we're going to infuse that rainbow light in and through the heart. And you're going to do a little divine DNA recode right now. You're going to tap right on your heart, very gentle with just your ring finger. And you're going to tap right below your heart, about 5 inches, right on your solar plexus. Here we go. It's safe for me now. Finally safe for me now to be divine in physical form. It's safe for me now. There you go. Finally safe for me now to activate and bring online all of my divine DNA, my gifts, my skills, my talents, and radiate that out throughout my entire fields. Good. Take a nice deep breath in. And now just bringing in the sparkle spirits one more time to just clean and brighten your energy field and amplify it even stronger, even brighter, helping you to install more physical energy helping this activation to infuse and get stronger and more magical and magnificent over the course of the next 14 days. So it just builds and builds and builds on itself, and you feel more rejuvenated, more regenerated, more energized, more filled with your divine purpose, more aligned with the truth of you. And it builds and builds over the next 14 days. Take a nice deep breath, open your eyes. How are you feeling? Susie, what? Yeah, it's fast energy. Divine DNA is fast energy. How'd you guys feel?
Great. Great. Okay, let me ask you one final thing. I almost hate to break this space by asking another question because it just feels so great. And I do have to say, I love bringing in the sparkle spirits. I'm a glitter gal, so I'm going to start calling on the sparkle spirits.
Yes, please do. Yes, everything I teach ever, I want you to take as yours always.
Yeah.
As
Yeah.
sparkle spirits.
Yeah, they'll be fun to play with. Thanks for bringing that to my awareness. So if there's one message that you could leave our audience with tonight and to walk away from your talk with, what would that be?
Simple. You're divine in physical form. You are here at this time to embody it. You are here at this time to remember deeply in and through all parts of you that you are divine in physical form. There is no separation. There's no anything that is in the way of you just being, having all of that connection, all of that love, all of that wisdom, all of that abundance, all of that yumminess to life. And you alone are in charge of running that frequency. And just like anything, you have to make space for it. You have to practice this. It's very intentional work, because this life, this matrix likes to keep it unintentional. It likes to keep you very distracted. So the more time and space you make to attune to these frequencies and to run them through your body, the more amazing you'll feel. You'll feel vibrant, you'll feel glowy, your body will attune, it'll upgrade. But it just depends on how much time. I always say your reality will change to the level to which you can keep your attention on it.
Beautiful.
And it's our time to be divine in physical form. That's why we came here.
Yeah, thank you so much. Lisa, I want to go ahead and bring you up too. Thank you so much for being here, not just tonight, but for the entire week, the entire month, that is, instead of the entire week. So thank you so much. I'm super excited for all the time we're going to get to spend together and all the yummy goodness that we're going to get to dive into. And I want to give you an opportunity. Also, if you would like to leave the audience with a thought tonight, what would that be?
I would just love to share that. I mean, everything that Alyssa shared with us is stuff that I have gotten from my team as well, and that I teach and embody. And really, like, all timelines are existing simultaneously. All earth potentials are existing simultaneously. So where do you want to put your focus? What kind of life do you want to have here? Because as she said, we do create our own heaven on earth, and we're all here to live out our journeys. And I love being a part of this with Alyssa, with Sheila, with the audience, and how we're all coming together to shine our lights, to raise Earth's vibration and humanity's vibration.
Beautiful, beautiful. And I'm going to pop back to you in just a moment. But Alyssa, do you have a website that you would like to leave people with so they can go and visit and find more about you?
Yeah, should I pop it in the chat so people can just
You
go?
can, but also because we're going to be in different audio formats, if you could also
Yeah.
speak it, that would be great.
Yeah, so if you want to go to raiseyourvibrationtoolkit.com, it's a great way to connect with me and get all the juicy goodness and activations and yumminess. So raiseyourvibrationtoolkit.com is totally free. It's a lot of the activations that I learned on the other side. So you can go check that out. I'd love to connect with you guys and just to hang out with you more. And that'll help get you in my world. And then we can be a part of each other's worlds. So I'll pop it in the chat.
Beautiful. Thank you. And Dr. Lisa, can you share your website?
Yes. So I have a multidimensional awakening kit at awakenactivatenow.com.
Wonderful. Ladies, thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. Audience, thank you for all your wonderful questions, all the energy that you're bringing. Thank you to all of our YouTubers and everyone else that's watching us wherever you are. We send you much love and again, much gratitude and thanks. So, until we are back together again, namaste and have a beautiful and blessed week, everyone.